Alright, welcome to part 6 of chapter 19. Here we look at characteristics of short-term securities. In the last clip, we have looked at investing a surplus cash. Here we look at the characteristics of choosing short-term securities to invest our short-term cash. The first characteristic will be maturity. Firms often limit the maturity of short-term investments to 90 days, no more than 90 days. It's less or up to 90 days to avoid loss of principal due to changing interest rates. Now, we have seen earlier in chapter 6, longer, actually we have seen this in chapter 5, longer a securities maturity or longer the time, a rise in market interest rates will reduce the securities price more. So this can be applied to a concept that we've seen in chapter 5, where when you lengthen the time, the time period or the end, and you will find that when you raise the interest rate or the discount rate, you will find that the present value will become lower. So that is what is explained here. Longer the securities maturity, longer the end, then an increase in interest rate or higher the discount rate means the present value will be much lower. And this is more so if the end is longer. So longer the securities maturity, if let's say you choose investments that are more than 90 days, let's say 1 year, then a small rise in the market interest rate will reduce the securities price much more. So the investors will lose their investment because of the fall in price. Higher interest rates will reduce the securities price. Lower interest rates will increase the securities price. So, and this is more so for longer maturity securities, securities that have longer maturity. Therefore, companies avoid investing in long-term maturity securities or securities that have longer maturity. They choose short-term investments that have a maturity of 90 days or less, so that any change in the market interest rates will not affect the securities price. And therefore their investment, principal value of the investment or the principal value that they invest in the security will remain more or less unchanged. That's the reason for this. And this is a very important characteristics or criteria. So they choose maturity which is less than 90 days. And the second characteristic is default risk. They try and avoid investing in marketable securities with significant default risk. Default risk here means the risk of the issuer of the security not paying the face value of the security. Meaning it's like some company issuing the security, promising to pay a certain amount at a certain date, but they default. They default means they do not fulfill the need to pay. Therefore, securities issued by such entities or some companies like that should be avoided because the default risk is high. So companies usually choose securities where the default risk is negligible or zero default risk. They will choose securities issued by very large companies which are not likely to fail, or they choose government securities, because government securities, the default risk is very low. Alright, then the next characteristic is marketability. Marketability or liquidity, it's the same thing. It is the ease of converting the security to cash. That means you are able to sell the security to another investor in the market if there is a sudden need for cash. Some securities are not so marketable. Some securities are more marketable. So companies for short-term purposes will choose liquid or high liquidity securities, securities that are easily convertible to cash. So this is another important criteria for choosing your short-term securities. And then the last characteristic here is taxability. Yeah, they will choose securities where the income from the security will be taxed less, yeah, or not taxed. Okay, this is an important characteristic, especially if you are investing in marketable securities that are issued in other countries. Yeah, so taxable, the tax, yeah, how much the income is taxed, yeah, from the investment will be an important criteria. Yeah, so the idea is to choose securities that are not heavily taxed. Okay, and they are only marginally taxed, yeah, or not taxed at all. Yeah, some investments, okay, will not be taxed, especially government, yeah, securities issued by government securities may not be taxed. So companies prefer, yeah, choosing securities that are not taxed. Okay, with that we finish this portion. Okay, right, and with that we end this chapter, and we do a quick review. Yeah, what we have covered in this chapter. The first one is major reasons for holding cash. We know that there are three, yeah, motives for holding cash. One is transaction. The main one is transaction. The second one is precaution, yeah, and the third one is speculation. Yeah, so we know the three reasons. Okay, and these are based on expected and unexpected, yeah, payments. Yeah, expected payment for transaction and investment purposes or opportunities will be considered as transaction motive. Yeah, and unexpected reasons, okay, for unexpected reasons of investment, it will be speculation, and or purchasing, yeah, will be speculation, and unexpected reason, yeah, for unexpected reason for transactions, okay, will be precaution. Yeah, these are the three major reasons. Now, what is the difference between disbursement float and collection float? Disbursement float is the float when you make payments with checks. Yeah? Collection float is when you receive payments, yeah, from your customer in terms of check, yeah? And it has a delay, yeah, in clearing the banking system. Therefore, these are called float, meaning the payment has been made here, but the funds are still available for disbursement float. For collection float, you have received the payment, but the funds are still not available, yeah, for collection float. Alright, how does the lockbox system work? Okay, it tries to reduce the float, yeah, by reducing mailing time, processing time, and availability time. Yeah, but then this lockbox system also has a cost, so you need to look at the benefit and the cost of the system, yeah, before you choose to adopt one. Yeah. And what are the major characteristics of short-term securities? We have seen here, the major three would be the maturity, alright, and then of course, one that we did not see would be the interest rates. Yeah, one would be maturity, the other is default risk. Okay, so the major characteristics will be maturity. Yeah, meaning companies will invest in securities that are maturing in less than 90 days. Yeah, this is due to the need to avoid interest rate risk. Okay, that's a major reason. Yeah, the second one is the default risk. Yeah, they will choose investments that or issued, yeah, securities issued by companies that are not likely to default. Okay, and the other criteria, yeah, is liquidity, yeah, or marketability. So they will choose short-term securities that are highly liquid or marketable. Yeah, they can easily be converted to cash. Yeah, so this is what we have covered. Right. Then this is a comprehensive problem. Yeah, that we look at. This is a lockbox system again. Okay, a proposed single lockbox system will reduce collection time 2 days on average. Yeah? So this is the savings. Yeah, weighted average delay will be saved by 2 days. Yeah, this is the savings. Daily interest rate is again the same, 0.01%. Yeah, this is daily, yeah, period rate. Average number of daily payments to the lockbox system is 3,000, the same as the example that we have seen earlier. Average size of payment is also the same, $500. But there's a difference here, and there's only one lockbox. Yeah, not 3, yeah, and the processing fee is 8 cents per check. Previously it was 10 cents, yeah, now it's 8 cents plus $10 to wire the funds each day, yeah, to transfer electronically. What is the maximum benefit, yeah, or sorry, maximum investment that would make this lockbox system acceptable? So the maximum investment is actually the cost, yeah, that you would pay. So this must be equal to the present value of the benefits, yeah. So you look at the present value of benefits, the float saved, yeah, or funds previously unavailable, tied up forever in float, is made available now, yeah. So this is measured by 2 days that you save, multiplied by 3,000 checks, multiplied by $500 per check. So this is 3 million. Yeah? This is the present value of the benefit. We assume that this 3 million is available immediately, yeah, once you adopt the logbox system. What are the present value of the cost? So the daily processing fee is 8 cents per check multiplied by 3,000 checks, so it's $240 per day, plus daily wire transfer cost is $10, yeah, so total daily cost will be $250 perpetual, yeah, so this is forever. Alright, what is the present value of this cost? We take this, yeah, 250 divided by 0.01%, so it works out to be 2.5 million, yeah. So this is your benefit, 3 million, and this is your cost, yeah, present value of cost. So you find that the cost is less than the benefit, yeah? Therefore there is a savings, net present value of 0.5 million, yeah? The decision is to accept the lockbox system, yeah? So you should not pay more than 3 million because your benefit is 3 million, your present value of the cost must not exceed 3 million. This does not exceed, this is only 2.5 million, therefore you should accept this lockbox system, yeah? So that's the decision. With that, we finish this chapter, yeah? Thank you.